Okay, thank you so much, everyone, to join me today. And if you have any questions, you can just chime in because since I am the speaker and moderator, so I might not be able to see all the chat during the event. So yeah, okay, so let's start. Where's the button? Okay. Can you see the screen? Hold on a second. I probably need to do this. Can you see the screen?
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you. Yeah, so today my topic is UX UI for XR. And my name is Dominique Wu. I'm the CEO of Hummingbird Stay and XReality Academy. Okay, a little bit about me. Right now, I've been working on UX UI digital products for over 10 years. And now I'm currently working with the Facebook Reality Labs, XReality. The most challenging project was I pretty much start from scratch and design an iOS AR space app within 6 months, just self-taught all the coding and the 3D modeling. So that's kind of something that I feel it was the most challenging project for me. And the fun project, I got selected as one of the NASA social media influencer and joined one of their campaign launch back in 2020 January. Yeah, and during that time, because like if you want to be NASA social influencer, you need to launch something, your post on your social media in return. So I did some web AR projects for the campaign launch. Yeah, my goal in 5 years was to grow XR community and inspire people every day. Yeah. Okay, so today the agenda will be UX design, XR design, and UX for XR. So what is UX design? Okay, user experience. UXD or UX design is a design process whose whole objective is design a system that offers a great experience to the user. User experience embraces a lot of different theories and disciplines such as user interface design, usabilities, accessibilities, information architecture, and human-computer interaction. So pretty much in short, user experience design is that how can we serve the user better? Is the user, kind of like user-centered design. And later on, like I think previous event, I talk about human-computer interaction, which is human-centric. Human-centric versus user-centric is a little different. User-centric is more like you interact on your like app or website or apps, right? That's user, you are using it. But human-centric, this means that the entire human race, the humanity need to feel comfortable, which is more XR design. Yeah, so of course in XR we talk about we will talk a lot about the user experience, but as for overall, if you want to have a really good experience, this experience need to apply to all the human beings, not specifically to user. So yeah, that's the interesting, little different, but still the same. Okay, so this is the whole process of UX design. And then start from research, right? You need to start with research, not only the business goal, brand's vision. You need to do the user research, and you need to define what's the success metrics. For example, like every project, there is always a goal. Without a goal, there's no like measurement, and the people doesn't know what's the meaning of being success for this campaign or this feature, right? So, and then after research, you will come up with some insights, right? And later on, you will start doing some ideations such as, prototyping, wireframe, and at the end, you start, doing the design. And those will be circling, right? Because sometimes research will jump in, sometimes the insights. So later on, when later on, I will talk about a little bit about game design process, and you can see it's a spiral, right? From small to big, it's a spiral. So yeah, so this is kind of like an overall UX vision. And okay, what is XR? Extended reality XR. Okay, so I know this is like a questions that everyone asks usually when they first heard of XR, this term. It means that extended reality, or if you want to make X, right? Because X means variables. So if you want to make X as a variable, means that any possibility reality will be included in XR. Or X can be referred to extended, means that beyond our actual reality, that is an extended reality. So it can be means variable, right? X, right? Or extended. So yeah, so those two meanings. Okay, so AR. Yeah, AR means that something that you can, like interact on your screen, right? Or, like it's kind of like the world is painted with data, right? And by holding or wearing a device, you can see the data. You can see the data, and this data can be represented by image, sounds, or text, right? So it means that the world is changing, and there are a lot of invisible data placing in your reality, right? But AR means that by taking out your phone, or wearing AR glass, you can see the data like coexist in your reality. So AR, augmented reality, means that you are enhancing your reality by data, right? By knowing what's the data in your reality. So AR is augmented reality. It means that when you see things by AR, augmented reality, you can see more about the thing in your reality. And what's VR? VR means computer-generated simulation in which person can interact with an artificial three-dimensional environment using some device, and spatial goggles, right? So, okay, so VR means that there's a simulation, like you are in a simulation. There's no real world elements in. Everything is fake. Everything is generated by computer. By doing that, immerse your environment, you feel different, right? For example, right now, if I wear a goggle and inside that scene was, I don't know, in the beach, right? And I feel different because the eyes, according to the research, it receives around 90% of all our perception to the world, right? When we see things, we believe that we are in that situation. So if you are immerse yourself in a computer simulation world, then you will start believing you are in that world, right? So that is VR. VR can be applied to a lot of different situations, such as psychology, right? Because when you change whatever you see, you kind of change your brain, you change your feeling, right? And that can be a lot of treatment or therapy for medical or for psychology. So this is a very interesting area. And MR usually right now it's highly, like the majority of MR is applied to enterprise, right? So if you see like MR usually are more like Magically, HoloLens, Meta, right? So all those MR glass, they can, the user can pretty much being trained by, like it's for employee training, and then also for, inventory, more for, like for business purpose. And the MR can make a novelty, someone who doesn't know anything, become an instant profession or experts. So MR is, highly used in enterprise for, for work. Okay, so the second part of this presentation, I will talk about more like my personal experience for developing a game. So yeah, I mean, this is kind of like a really simple walkthrough for the process. The first one will be ideation. Second one will be audience, like define your user. And third one will be define game design and features. The fourth one will be building game design document, GDD. And the fifth one will be development and prototyping. The sixth one will be start production. Okay, so let's take a look of the game development or any design. Yeah, so the reason why we talk about game design is because XR, all the application on XR is pretty much built either like right now the biggest one. Maybe in the future there will be new software, but right now the two main engine are Unreal and Unity. So those two before they were, game engine. So there are already a lot of game stuff, game mechanics, all the stuff related to game is already built in the system. So gamification is very easy to implement into all the systems. So that's why when we talk about XR, we will talk about fun, gamification because of that. Yeah, so yeah, and by the way, because XR have the special computing, right? It relates to 3D and time, right? Once you have 3D, you have time, and you can simulate the world. There will be a story, right? So storytelling, gamification, game, those are kind of like the really important elements if you want to create a really good XR application. So, okay, so let's talk about this spiral. So if you can see this, you can see in the middle, it has the concepts, right? You start with little concepts. It's similar to like any application development. You start with little concept, you do prototype, and you fit the requirements and you start validate, right? And then it works. And then you start thinking about new feature and you start, going out and out. Start with little thing and add up. If something success, you add a little up. You add a little up and test it out, launch. And if it is successful, you just keep adding. It's like, a spiral. So start from small and, at the end, it will be a big development or a big app. So for example, if you see like, let's say LinkedIn, right? Before, I would say 5 years ago, 10 years ago, LinkedIn was just someone post their, job, right? Like, oh, my working experience and that's it, right? But you see, like LinkedIn right now, they add social elements in, right? And once the social elements become successful, they add a lot of different features such as learning, right? And mentoring, right? They start adding different elements. If it was failed, then they just move on, right? So they have to measure what's the KPI successful goal. If they hit, they just keep growing that part. If it is failed, they just stop doing that. So that is the spiral of, the product development. Okay, so as for game development, at the beginning, you have to do something like this cake, the slice of cake. What does it mean? It means that you need to do a small portion of your game and everything works. For example, like your character need to be figured out, your controller need to be figured out, your movement, right? Your grabbing system, your teleportation, your locomotion system, or your trigger system, your UI system. Yeah, so all those stuff you need to figure it out. And also the storytelling and level design, such as environment setup, right? So all this needs to be figured out. You don't have to finish the